Let's construct some confidence intervals. I want to do a couple problems from our stats book by Mario F. Traiola, Elementary Stats, in its 14th edition. These problems come off of page 326. In question number 22, we're told that a random sample of 5,005 adults in the United States includes 751 who do not use the internet. Construct a 95% confidence interval estimate of the percentage of United States adults who do not use the internet. Based on the result, does it appear that the percentage of U.S. adults who do not use the internet is different from 48%, which was the percentage in the year 2000? Well, here in number 22, we're given a sample size. We're given a number of successes, which would let us build a sample proportion. And we're given a confidence level, which will help us pick, or not help us pick, but let us know which critical value to use when we calculate our margin of error. And then in the end, we're actually asked for a confidence interval for a percentage. So we're going to follow our procedure for proportions and then convert at the very end to a confidence interval for percentages by multiplying by 100. And then we'll come back to this question where in the year 2000, about 48% of people did not use the internet. And I think we'll see a different result here. So to start off, we've calculated our point estimate, the sample proportion, but let's get that as a decimal. So this sample proportion would be about 0.1500, so I think 0.15 is enough, though I might want to round this to 3 or 4 significant figures unless I was told otherwise. But for right now, I think that 0.15 will be just fine. And now we need to calculate a margin of error. And I know how to fill in all of the spots here in this calculation. P hat is our sample proportion, and I know Q hat is 1 minus P hat. I know they're complementary proportions. So P hat is 0.15, so 1 minus 0.15 tells me that Q hat is 0.85. I have my sample size, and now I just need to know my critical value, Z sub alpha over 2. Well, the critical value that corresponds to the 95% confidence interval is 1.96. So now I'm ready to calculate my margin of error. All over the sample size of 5,005. Now that square root's over everything. I'm not real happy with the way that looks, so let's make sure that extends all the way down. All right, so let's see how to calculate that. 1.96 times the square root of 0.15 times 0.85 divided by 5,005. All right, so let's see. 0.0, and even if I tried to round to 3 decimal places, I would get 1 0. So 0.01. Our margin of error here will be 1%. That doesn't seem too bad, and we're ready to construct our confidence interval. The true proportion of people in the United States who say they do not use the internet is between 0.14, so 0.1 subtracted from our point estimate, and 0.01, excuse me, plus our point estimate, 0.16. So taking 0.01 away, 1%. So I am 95% certain that the actual population proportion lives between those two proportions. But we were actually asked to leave an interval in terms of the percentage of adults. So that would be between 14% and 16%. And the answer to their question is this appears much, much, much different than what was happening in the year 2000. That 21 years ago, only 48% of the population, not only, 48% of the population said they did not use the internet. Well, even the upper limit of our 95% confidence interval does not include that this time. So here's my confidence interval for percentage rather than proportion, just by expressing those proportions as a percentage. All right, so that was number 22. In our next video, we're going to tackle number 25.